So let's start building our scene around our character. My character is already loaded over here, and you can see he's the only guy in the scene with his joints and also the skinning in place. So all I've done is I've simply just gone over here and posed him, just like such. So he was in a T-stance pose, what it's called. When you first start rigging the character, that was a T-stance pose, and I just got this down, and I pretty much just rotated his arm, and that's it. That's all I've done really on both sides. So he's just kind of in a pose right now, and maybe we can even get him, this one, to be going down slightly. So basically, let's start building everything around him. So the first thing I'm going to do is build a simple ground plane. So I'm simply going to do a simple NURBS plane in this case, and I do have some already existing inputs in there. So let's go to the options, let's reset the settings and simply make a plane. And at this time I'm just gonna scale this and just bring this down. And also let's go to the front view. So I was holding down spacebar to get my hotbox, and I click on my, and this is how I like to navigate most of the times. So just making sure that the plane's big enough, but at the same time not too big. So this might be a little too big, and we can always scale it back up if we need to. So let's just scale this down, and let's just bring it up right over here so that the character is standing on there. And first, most important thing is you gotta set your camera. So you can keep working in your perspective view like I'm doing right now, but the most important thing is to work in a most important thing is to set a shot cam. So the shot cam is what your audience is going to see finally, or you can have several shot cams too, but you can keep working in your perspective view. So let's do panels, perspective, new, to make a new camera, and you can see it's called Perp1. So I'll simply call this cam right now. And what I'm going to do is just reposition this right around here. And also, one more thing I'm going to do is now at this time just scale this. And then I'm going to start getting some other elements in here. Now, first thing first, again, I'm going to start naming everything. So I'm going to call this ground. So let's call this one ground. And let's also put this in a layer. So putting things in a layer is very important, so you can hide things. You can pretty much reference things if you want to. So if I don't want to select the ground at this time, I can just say T or R, which means I can't really select it. Then we can also start getting some other elements, but before that, let's select the ground and let's see how we can apply the texture to this. So lots of different ways I can do it from the Hypershade, but I'm simply going to right click and say assign material to selection. So assign new material, I'm sorry. So let's do assign new material. And I'm simply going to assign a simple Lambert to this guy. And let's call this one ground 2 as well. So Lambert, and right next to the color channel, this little checker box, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say give me a file texture, and it asks me to load the file over here. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'll just input the grass.jpg. So this is this texture right here. So you can see the grass.jpg is already showing, which is great. So I'm just going to close this. And also, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on what is called the resolution gate. So I'm doing it at 720 by 480, which I did set by going to the camera settings over here, and right over here I'm doing 720 by 480. And you might want to do cam, but we can come back to this later when we actually end the process of rendering. So 720 by 480 is what I'm viewing. That's my resolution. And also I want to turn on something else over here called the safe action, so the action safe. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start getting the mountain in the background and the trees and so on. So I have some files open over here. So let's look at some of the mountain textures right here. I think it's this one. So layer 4 underscore new.psd. So it's a PSD file, it's a vector smart object. Let's go to image and image size, and I just want to see the size of this. So it's 1046 by 445. So let's keep that in mind. So I'm simply going to go NURBS primitives plane, and this is how pretty much the Panda was using, just planes and just all these really smart images like the PSDs or TIFF files in some cases. So let's go 10.46. And just to make sure, I'm gonna go there again. I think it was 445. So let's see that again. Yes, it was. And let's go down to 4.45. And I'm gonna make it from the Z-axis. As you can see, the Z-axis is pointing towards the camera right now. So let's say create. So there's our plane. And we can always scale it. But right click, let's go assign new material. And in this case, I'm gonna assign a Lambert again. And then click on the checker box. Let's first call it mountains. So I'll just call it mount in this case. And let's go to the color channel right here. And instead of a file, I'm going to take a PSD file. So let's assign a PSD. Click on this. And that was layer 4. Let's say open. And to get rid of the white background over there, what I'll do is I'll simply say alpha to use transparency. And you can see right there immediately the white goes away and I have my nice little background. At this time I can scale this mountain if I want to. And let's just keep it over here. We can probably scale it even more and have it right at the bottom over here. And let's quickly do a render of this. So that's what it looks like. Now, as for background color for the camera, that's very easy. And the mountain's cutting over here a little bit, but that's okay. As for the background color of the camera, what we can do is, and we can move the camera a little bit if we want to. So if you want slightly from the bottom. So I want to do a little tight shot. And I'm going to cheat and kind of do that on the mountain. And cheating is a good word in animation. It's basically when you want to really cheat and make sure that no one knows what you did to fix the problem. So let's just keep it this way right now. And at this time, I'm gonna show you how to do the background. So let's go with the camera selected, cam. That's our shot cam. I'll go to camera attributes right here. And right at the bottom over here, there's something called environment, wherein I can put an image plane, but right now I'm just gonna use a color. Let's click on the color and let's select some nice bright blue sky color. So something around maybe on these lines right here. And if I click on the render button again, give it a second, and there you go. I've got some nice sky color over there. The next thing I want to do is I want to start getting the trees, the two trees that we had, and also the clouds. So let's go back over here. So we have two trees, if you remember. We had this one, and we have another one, which is this. So to do this one, what I'm going to do is simply go to image and image size 348 by 957. So let's remember that one, 348 by 957 for that tree. So let's go to create NURBS plane. I don't have to go to the settings this time because I know that, I do have to go to settings, but I don't have to change really. I went to the poly, my bad. I don't have to really change the Z-axis because that's going to stay. Let's go back over here. Image size 348 957. I keep forgetting that. 3.48 9.57. Let's say create. So there we go. We have the tree right there. And at this time I'm going to go to the perspective just to bring it in the front. And right click, assign new material. Let's do Lambert. And let's call this tree left. To the left of us as we're viewing from the cam. And let's go to the color right over here. And I believe that's a PSD as well. So let's double check. Yes, it is. So let's do a PSD file again and let's click on the folder and let's do tree1.psd. I think it's tree2. There you go. And under alpha to use, I'll say transparency. So there you go. We have our nice tree over there. So the same thing I'll do for the other tree. So I'll just position this right over here at this time, and let's go back to our camera view. And it's huge, as you can see, so we definitely have to scale this one down. And let's keep it right here. And in the next movie, what we'll do is we'll do some of the other elements in the scene. So we'll see all those, like the grass, some of the grass, and I also introduced in the file, I also did some simple paint effects, so I'll show you that as well in the next video.